Good morning, students. So as you can see, this is my English class number 5, and today we will be hopefully completing whatever was undone in the last class. So there was something that was left from the perspective of what Juliet has to say on her love Romeo, isn't it? So just let us very quickly recapitulate the certain things that we had discussed in the first class about where Romeo sees Juliet for the first time. So you all know, where did he see Juliet? Yes, he saw Juliet on the dance floor on a grand supper that was arranged by his father, or the family of Juliet Capulets, isn't it? So there are certain keywords in the discussion that we had discussed in the last class. So keep those things in mind and understand that I had told you that whatever Romeo has seen on the dance floor, when he sees for the first time he sees Juliet on the dance floor, who was actually surrounded by so many different people, where he uses certain similes to beautify, or where he uses these similes in order to say that Juliet was the first person, or she was the brightest stars amongst all the people who were there, where he saw her and he fell in love with her for the first time when he saw. You know what exactly was the thing? That he actually came in disguise, isn't it? So he came in disguise and he wanted to meet a lady by name Rosalind, but when he saw Juliet's beauty there, he forgets everything, and now he assumes himself, or he thinks himself, that he has fallen in love with Juliet. All the similes that were used by Romeo to describe the beauty of Juliet has to be marked. I had told you, identify the similes that are used. Now, simile is one of the figures of speech that we actually make use of, or a poet or a playwright makes use of it in order to say the things in comparison to, isn't it? So we have all learned in our earlier classes that, like, you know, if very easiest way to identify a simile is that probably you will have the words like or as in it, isn't it? In the similar way, just understand that the monologue, I was telling you about this word monologue, that is speaking to oneself, isn't it? Speaking to oneself. When Romeo was describing about the beauty in the play written by Shakespeare, we were in the act 1 of scene 5. Okay, now you have another monologue that is spoken by Juliet now, isn't it? So there is a gap of around between some 2 acts here and certain number of scenes. Why? Because when you look at the text here, Juliet is describing, or Juliet is speaking this monologue in act 3 and scene number 2. Okay, so you got to understand what is happening, or what has happened between act 2, what has happened in act 2 and what has happened until act 3 scene 1. Okay, now you have to understand here that these are the 2 monologues spoken by the main characters of the play. The one thing that we have done is that Romeo describing the beauty of Juliet, which is the first monologue, and the second monologue is actually in the whole play, it comes somewhere between act 2 and the scene 2. So before I could take up what what Juliet wants to say, let us understand what exactly has happened in the course of time. Okay, there is a character called Tybalt. Okay, so there is a character called Tybalt who was very much against Romeo loving Juliet. Okay, he happens to be the cousin of Juliet, and he is never willing Romeo to come to Capulet in any form. Even in disguise, he doesn't want him to come to Juliet. But on the other hand, Romeo is one such lover, one who doesn't care of anything. He is of the opinion that I have fallen in love with you and I will be loving you eternally. So this is the stand of Romeo here. Okay, in the course of time, as I said that in the city of Verona, there were two families, namely Montagues and Capulets, where Montagues is Romeo's family, where Capulet is Juliet's family, isn't it? So when we are talking here about these two different families who are noble families, but at the same time they are very stern enemies. That is, there is a very deep enmity between these two families in the city of Verona. But when Romeo has seen the beauty of Juliet, we have seen that he has really fallen in love with the lady in such a way that he doesn't want to compromise for any aspect in his life. He has forgotten who is Rosalind. He doesn't want to take care of anybody else, but rather only loving Juliet is his ambition now. Okay, so in the course of time, we see that there are a lot of fights that happen between, and in one such fight where Juliet hears is that in the course of this second act of the play, what we have to understand here is that yes, since there is a enmity between these two families, obvious case is that both of the families are against of these love, so to say, the pure love between Romeo and Juliet. But on the other hand, Romeo has fallen for Juliet's beauty, and the same way Juliet is also in love with Romeo. So this is called something which is called as true love, and both these characters doesn't want to see that let their love go in vain. So that is the reason that both the characters of the play are innumerably in love with each other, and they are ready to face anything that happens to them. As I was telling you about this particular character Tybalt here, in the act 2 or maybe in the act 3 scene 1 or something, we will come to know that there was a clash between Romeo and Tybalt. As I said that this character Tybalt was never willing Romeo to come to Capulets at any cost. He doesn't want Romeo to either marry Juliet, or he doesn't want to see Romeo in their family. Okay, so there is a nurse, one who takes care of Juliet in her house, and she is the one who keeps on giving the updates, or who keeps on telling about what is happening between Tybalt and Romeo. Meanwhile, Juliet assumes that there was a huge fight between Tybalt and Romeo for the cause that Romeo wants to come to Capulets, or Romeo wants to come and meet Juliet in any of the circumstances. When this man comes to know about all these things, he becomes a kind of a person, one who doesn't want to allow at any cost that Romeo should be coming to Capulets' house to meet or to see or to talk to Juliet. Okay, in the exile, so there was a clash between Romeo and Tybalt, and the nurse is of the opinion that maybe Romeo has killed Tybalt and he was captured and he was sentenced to exile, lifetime exile. But on the other hand, there are innumerable things that are coming to Juliet's notice, that these are the things that have happened between Tybalt and Romeo. And meanwhile, as the play progresses there, we see that Juliet is of the opinion that there are innumerable things, or there are innumerable stories that come in Juliet's way about Romeo's presence, whether he is dead, is he in exile. So there are so many numerous things that are coming to Juliet. At that particular time, this monologue that is given from Act 3, Scene 2 of the play is given to you for the studies. Okay, you don't need to worry about these names of the characters, but the only thing that you need to remember is their family, their enmity and these names of these two characters. Okay, the other characters will come because the story has to progress, isn't it? So that's the reason that when we see that Tybalt and Romeo, both of them were exchanged in a duel, so to say, the fight between these two people, there are innumerable stories that come to Juliet's way about the presence of Romeo. Okay, at that particular time, she comes to this particular monologue and start speaking to her. Am I clear? So this is the background, or this is what exactly has happened between Act 1 of Scene 5, where we saw Romeo describing the beauty of Juliet when he sees her for the first time. That is what we have already completed now. Okay, after that, whatever the thing that I have discussed with you people right now is something that happens in the middle of the play, and now we come to the Act 3 scene number 2 in the play, where we see that Juliet is speaking to herself in the form of a monologue, and let us see what is she going to tell us, or what is she going to tell us about whatever the things that she is hearing about Romeo. Hope I am clear. So this is something that you will have to understand, that we are now reading an extract from the play which is there in Act 2 Scene 2, where Juliet is speaking about Romeo. I hope I am clear. Okay, so now let me just take you to the text what is been given there, and let me read it for the first time, and then I'll just discuss about what are the things that rather Juliet has to say on Romeo. Look at this. So I'm reading you something from Act 2 and Scene 2 of the play, where Juliet tells us that, "Come night, come Romeo. Thou day in night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night. Whiter than new snow on a raven's back, come gentle night, come, loving black-browed night. Give me my Romeo, and when I shall die, take him and cut him in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night, and pay no worship to garish the sun." Okay, now when you read these 6 to 7, 8 lines that were spoken by Juliet on Romeo, okay, with your first understanding or with your first reading of these monologues, you will come to know that Juliet keeps on repeating about darkness. That is, she keeps on talking to us about night, not day, isn't it? She keeps to us talking about all the 8 lines. She keeps on repeatedly to ask Romeo to come to her. That is, Juliet wants Romeo to come to her, not in the broad daylight, but she wants him to come to her only during the night. Now, what could be the reason for that? You know it very well, isn't it? So, let us see what exactly she wants to say. The very first line Juliet says on Romeo is that, "Come night, come Romeo." Come night, come Romeo means to say that Juliet wants Romeo to come to her, to come to Capulet's family or come to Capulet's house only during the night, but not in broad daylight. That is what she wants him to come. The reason because of this is that because two families are stern enemies, and both the families will not accept the love between these two characters, and that is the reason that she keeps on telling that. At the same time, she also has heard so many news, or she has heard about so many things that have happened between Tybalt and Romeo. That is the reason that she wants to tell us that, "Come night, come Romeo, come thou day in night." If you want to meet me, if you have to talk to me, if you want to see me, you got to come to me only during the night, but avoid but don't come during the broad daylight, is what she says. For thou, Thou, thou is nothing but you are. For thou wilt lie upon the wings of night. That is, you have to come to me in the form of a hero, and most of the times heroes do come to their love only during the night time, according to Juliet. So she says that, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night. That is, if you come during the wings of the night, that will be safer for both of us. Okay, come, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Raven is actually a name of an animal where she actually tries to personify herself, saying that Romeo is also brighter unlike a new snow, and he should always come on a raven's back. Appearance of the Romeo should be like that, and that even during the night if he comes, but because of the beauty or because of the exaggeration that she has towards Romeo is something which will definitely be in the form of a light for Juliet. Okay, now, come gentle night, come, loving black broad night. That is, she always wants, that is, Juliet is of the opinion that it is a night which is a safe time for both of us to come and meet, and she is of the opinion that though it is night, you are my hero and you are my love, and I want your safety at all the times. That is the reason that you are also very beautiful to me, and I have started loving you in such a way that I want your safety first. Okay, she says, come gentle night. So she keeps on asking the night to come in a way that she is actually calling Romeo to come and meet her. Okay, in that way you need to understand that. Come gentle night, come, loving black broad night. You are also been compared to the black broad night where you are safe. If you come in night, this is the only time where we can talk, where we can meet, where we can see each other. This is what Juliet thinks of Romeo. Then, give me my Romeo, and when I shall die. Okay, as I told you that there were innumerable news that was coming Juliet's way, that both of them were in fight, Romeo and Tybalt, and she also comes to know that Romeo was Romeo died because of this fight or something, or Romeo killed Tybalt and he was in exile. These were certain things that were coming to Juliet from her nurse who was taking care of her. Okay, so at that particular time she says about these lines and asking Romeo to come to her only during the night. Okay, so give me my Romeo. So she is asking the stars, she is asking the nature, give me my Romeo. If you are not able to give me my Romeo or something, if at all, if I die, okay, if Romeo is dead, if it is true that Romeo is dead, I don't know, whether I don't know that Romeo was in exile. Okay, she doesn't know what actually is happening, but she comes to know only through her nurse who is there or who was there with the Juliet. So she says that, give me my Romeo, and when I shall die. Okay, if I am dead before Romeo comes to me or something, she wants to say an oxymoron. Oxymorons are one more part of figure of speeches that will be used by the poets and the playwrights in order to say what really the characters want to say. Give me my Romeo, and when I shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars. Okay, if Romeo comes to me, if this is known by my family, Capulet families or something, then obviously it is a fact that I would kill myself. So once after my death or something, what I want my Romeo is to be, take him and cut him out in little stars. So this is a line where we see that both of them were very madly, very deeply in love with each other. Okay, so if Juliet is died or if she is about to die or something, even Romeo should also die. Or if Romeo is already dead, then even Juliet doesn't want to live. Okay, so that is why I was telling you that Romeo and Juliet is once again one of the greatest tragedies that Shakespeare has ever written. Okay, during or at the end of the play you will come to know like whether it was really a tragic death for both of them. That is at the later part or maybe at the end of the play. But right now what you need to think here is that give me my Romeo. If you are not able to give me my Romeo, then I will not live hereafter. That is, I will kill myself. That is, when I shall die, take him. That is, take Romeo and cut him out in the little stars. That is, even Juliet is of the opinion that I am sure that even if I am not there, even Romeo will not be alive. So she is so confident about his love, her lover, that she is of the opinion that take him, cut him into pieces or cut him into little stars. That is, each and every part of his body should be cut in such a way that it will resemble the stars in the heaven. Okay, so what she says here is that, and he will make the face of the heaven so fine. That is, the beauty of Romeo after his death can be glowing because each and every aspect regarding to Romeo should be like something that can be compared to the face of the heaven. Face of the heaven here is nothing but an implication or a suggestion or a comparison that is made to the stars during the, when do we see stars? We see the stars twinkling in the sky only during night. And what is she talking to us from the beginning of her monologue? She is asking the Romeo to come to her during the night, isn't it? So that's why take him and cut him out in the little stars. Okay, and he will make the face of the heaven so fine. Even he will be of just like a star glowing in the heaven. That is, each and every aspect that is belonging to Romeo is something which is very pure for me. Okay, so, and he will make the face of the heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night. By now, we should come to know the fact that Juliet is a lady, one who wants Romeo to come to her, talk to her, meet her only during the night, and at the same time, when you have the people around you who are against your love, should always think of the opinion that they should meet, they should talk, or they should see to each other only during the night. So that is why she says that after my death, I want Romeo, I am sure of the fact that Romeo will also not be alive. So when he dies, or take him and cut him into the little stars, means to say that all that are belongings related to Romeo should be compared to the stars in the sky that will make the heaven glow much better. So this is the beauty of Romeo for Juliet. Hope you can understand, right? So what is the description of the beauty by Romeo to Juliet is we have already done, and now Juliet is saying about the beauty. What is Romeo to her? So Romeo is this, that is, he is like a star to her who will make the face of the heaven glow so bright because he is my lover. That is what she say to us here. And he will make the face of the heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night. That is, people one who love each other where their families are against us will definitely see to it that they would love something which is called as night. They would love something which is called as dark. Why? Because the society is against their love. And the only place where they can think or where they can meet would be darkness, means to say the night. So that is why Juliet is mainly she is stressing on the fact that they can meet only during the night because of the enmity between these two families. That the world will be in love with night. I want the whole world to be in love with the night because if their love is being not accepted by the society, by their family members, obviously the only refuge that they have is night time or the dark time, when no one can see or identify others or identified by the others. So that is why she is of the opinion that it should be night. And pay no worship to the garish sun. During the daytime you have a sun, you have the sun rays, but what Juliet wants to say about the beauty of Romeo is that though the sun rays are brighter, but I am of the opinion that Romeo's beauty is far brighter than a garishing sun. Garishing is nothing but glowing, right? Something that is very, very bright. So Garit sun, that is the love, the appearance of Romeo for me is brighter than that of the sun rays, is what she wants to tell us here. So with these lines, the play or the monologue comes to an end, and this is what you have to study. Okay, in the first monologue you are going to study the description of the beauty by Romeo on Juliet, and vice versa in the second monologue, that is Juliet describing the beauty of Romeo. So this ends the first poem that you have, Romeo and Juliet. I hope I am clear with my way of description about these two monologues. Okay, don't worry about the whole act or about the whole play. Only here and there, if you know, it is well and good to understand what is the storyline is all about. Okay, so remember in your mind that both these monologues by Romeo and Juliet are spoken in the main play at different times. So that thing should be there in your mind. Okay, when Romeo describes the beauty of Juliet, it was the act 1 and scene 5. At the beginning, maybe, in the first 4 scenes of the act 1, you will come to know about the description about these two families, what exactly was there in that real time or something. And the second monologue spoken by Juliet to describe Romeo's beauty is somewhere in the act 3, scene 2 of the play. Okay, just try to have what has happened from beginning to the act 3, scene 2 of the play, which will actually tell you about some of the important aspects in order to understand what is happening between these two characters. Okay, so let me very quickly recapitulate the monologue said or told by Juliet here. What does Juliet say? Juliet wants to say, and she is giving utmost importance for darkness or to the night. She always tries to call Romeo to come to her only during the night because of the enmity between these two families. So that is why she is comparing the night and asking Romeo to come to her only during the night, and she is comparing him that though it is night, his face or the presence of Romeo is something which will make the night so bright because of the appearance. She uses oxymorons, O-X-Y-M-O-R-O-N, oxymorons, 3 oxymorons she uses to describe what is night to her and why is she so happy during the night, because Romeo is the one who can come to her, to talk to her or to see her. She compares his beauty as also a white snow on a raven's back. Okay, and she also compares his life like, that if Juliet is died before Romeo, then she thinks that both of them will not live any longer. So after my death, Juliet wants Romeo to cut into different pieces and make the face of the heavens so bright because of his presence or because of his bodily experience. And we also have seen here that take him and cut him into the little stars and he will make the face of heaven. That is, the very presence of Romeo will make the face of the heaven so bright that it is something, though it is night, no one can understand that it is dark. That is, his beauty is something which is brighter than the darkness or the night. And at the same time, we also see that Romeo coming to Juliet during the night will be a lesson for the other lovers in the life, one who can love night, because they can meet only during that time because of the oppositions that they may have in their families. And we see that pay no worship to garish, that is, even the worship, that is, even the sun who is very bright during the day, but the presence of my Romeo with me is brighter than that, is what she says. And she concludes her monologue by saying this line. Okay, now this is it about these two important monologues that have been spoken by two different characters at the two different times. So please see to it that they are spoken at two different times. Okay, Act 1, Scene 5, and Act 3, Scene 2. So your text will tell you about when they have spoken these lines, and you have to understand accordingly what do they mean. So you have been given a glossary here on some 6 to 7 words that were used in the monologues here, which have been already described to you. You can have once again reading, you can have your own way of reading once again and understanding those words with the context that have been given there. Okay, now with this I come to the comprehension part of the questions here, and as I say, comprehension 1 is always 1 mark, 1 sentence, 1 word, 1 phrase, isn't it? So you can just mark these words that have been given there. The phrase "teach the torches to burn bright" suggests. Now this is the line that was spoken by Romeo describing Juliet's beauty when he sees her for the first time in the dance ball or in the dance party whatsoever. So there are 3 options given. You got to tick the correct one, and what do you think is the correct one? Juliet's glow is brighter than that light of the torch. Her beauty is capable of enabling the torches to burn bright. Her beauty surpasses the brightness of light. All 3 options look alike, but they have altogether a very different meaning to connotate what exactly they mean. So hence we mark Juliet's glow is brighter than the light of the torch. Why? It has been given very clearly in the text. So that's the reason that you choose the option A for that. Then, for earth too dear, T-double-O it is, too dear, suggests that the lady's beauty is divine. Okay, rare, expensive, even that is also there, but the most appropriate option would be her beauty was very divine. Why? The phrase given to you in the form of a question is for earth too dear. So that's why beauty of Juliet is very divine on earth. Then the measure done, question number 3, comprehension 1. The measure done connotes the completion of Romeo's admiration of Juliet's beauty. Option A is the answer for that. Then the line, did my heart love till now? When do you think he asked this question to himself? Yeah, you remember that, right? So Romeo feels that is true love. Why? Go back to that earlier background to before he goes to the supper in disguise. He wanted to meet Rosalind, but the moment he sees Juliet's beauty, he falls for her, or he falls in love with her for the very first sight. So that's why did my heart love till now suggests that it was his true love. That is option C. Then the phrase new snow suggests. The phrase new snow suggests love is as pure as snow. Option A. Then you have 6th question, that is, what do you think the phrase face of heaven signifies? This is the line spoken by Juliet describing Romeo's beauty, isn't it? So what do you think the phrase face of heaven? She wants, after the death of Juliet wants Romeo to be taken by those people, whoever hates him, and cuts him into the small pieces of stars or something and make the face of the heaven glow. So whom is she talking about? She's talking about Romeo, or Romeo's description of beauty, isn't it? So Romeo, it signifies the face of Romeo. It signifies the face of Romeo is what you need to understand. So these are the 6 questions that have been given in the text. But let me be very, very clear here that you may be asked a question not only from these 6, you may be asked a question from any point of the text. So that's why you got to be very specific about your reading and understanding and comprehending what the text is all about. Okay, you may get a question from any point of the monologue spoken by any of them, either Romeo or Juliet. Okay, then you have comprehension 2 and 3. I'll just discuss here, and these notes will be provided to you. Okay, comprehension 2 and comprehension 3. So this is the case that we keep on doing for all the units that we have in this Springs text. Okay, so comprehension 1 will be discussed in the class, and second and third I try to give you the hard copy of the note so that you can keep it and prepare for your examinations. Clear? Okay, comprehension 2. What similes does Romeo use to convey Juliet's beauty? I think I have told you about an assignment, or to identify or make a note of the similes that are used by Romeo. So this is a question that may be asked for short answer, that is 80 to 100 words question for 4 marks. So you might have done that. So you got to just take the examples of the similes that were used by Romeo to describe Juliet's beauty. Then, how, according to Juliet, would Romeo be immortalized to the world? What is the meaning of the word immortalized? Who will live forever. Something, a person, one who doesn't have any end or death. Immortal, immortality. You know that word, right? So, how? She uses the oxymorons. She uses those oxymorons to say that even after the death of Romeo, he will be there in the world in the form of true love. So the second monologue, you can just take an example, the descriptions that have been given by Juliet in describing Romeo's beauty. Then comprehension 3, comment on the contrasting imagery in the poem, different images that have been used in the poem. What purpose does it serve in highlighting the intensity of love? So this is a long answer question that might not be asked, whatever, but comment on the contrasting images. What are the different images that have been used by both of these characters in describing the beauty of each other? So what does the purpose it serve? So it obviously serves that they are truly madly in love with each other. One doesn't want to let loose the other, isn't it? So those things you can use. And between Romeo and Juliet, whose love do you think is more passionate and intense? So this is a question based on your own choice. So obviously you can take a call on Romeo and give your clarifications, or you can take the monologue spoken by Juliet and give your own contrasting elements or the ideas to support your answer. Okay, my dear students, so I come to an end here with the first unit, or a first poem that we actually had, Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. So in the next session of mine, I'll start a very interesting short story that we have, Too Dear by Leo Tolstoy. Thank you so much.